मैं तो दिल्ली में रहता हूँ और रेडियो फीजी बहुत रेडियो फीजी रोज सुनता हूँ.
रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन.
In the news tonight, leptospirosis case confirmed in Kandavu. Reports of domestic violence cases. And legal consultant ordered to deactivate social media accounts.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Edwin Nunn.
Fiji has recorded its first case of leptospirosis as a result of Tropical Cyclone Harold. The Ministry of Health confirms the case emanates from Kandavu, which was badly hit by the cyclone. A 19-year-old man from Vunisea was evacuated to the CWM hospital after being diagnosed. Health Minister Dr. Ifiremi Wangainambete says natural disasters such as TC Harold can give rise to various other diseases.
We've made it very clear that after a significant cyclone or climatic change event, there are leptos, typhoid, dengue and dysentery that can become relatively common. We also understand that there have been a few cases in Kandavu.
In the midst of COVID-19 restrictions, the Fiji Women's Crisis Center says they've seen an increase in gender-based violence with 160 cases reported in the last month on the Domestic Violence Helpline 1560. Director for Women Selai Korovusere says they are working with all stakeholders to raise awareness on the help available and intervene with law enforcement where necessary. Maggie Boyle reports.
While curfews, lockdowns and orders to stay at home are necessary measures in light of COVID-19, this has also been attributed to a rise in domestic violence cases.
We have seen a total of about 160 domestic violence cases, which is the highest. These are both people, repeat ones and the new ones that are coming up. We've seen 2 rape cases, 3 attempted rape, and of course child sexual abuse and so on.
The Ministry of Women says a surge in gender-based violence cases was expected with a collective response in place.
These SMS messages in addition to what NDMO is sending out, what the Ministry of Health is sending out for COVID-19. We've also sent out this messaging promoting the DV helpline and the child helpline.
Given the economic impact of the pandemic on many Fijian households, there is a need for communities to also play their part in the fight against violence against women and children.
If you hear screaming and you know your next door neighbor is suffering from domestic violence, call the police immediately, call 1560 immediately.
Social media might be an opportunity for them to do that. So we're asking the members of the public also if they have reports of these happening, or if they have relatives and friends, that this is taken seriously and also brought to the attention of the authorities.
The toll-free DV helpline 1560 is available 24/7, along with the child helpline on 1325. Maggie Boyle, FBC News.
A legal consultant who allegedly posted malicious comments against police officers has been ordered by the Suva Magistrates Court to deactivate her social media account. Melanie Muandromo has been charged with 1 count of malicious act. It's alleged she posted a comment on social media claiming that police were responsible for the death of a remand prisoner after he was kept in custody at the Lautoka police station. Pranita Prakash reports.
Buandromo allegedly claimed through a Facebook comment that police were suppressing the fact that the victim fell ill while in custody, despite clarification that the deceased was in fact a remand prisoner at the Lautoka Corrections Office at the time of his death. The prosecution today objected to bail, saying that Buandromo used social media to show hatred towards police officers who have been working hard amidst the COVID-19 crisis. The prosecution also stated that investigation in relation to this case is still pending. However, the Suva magistrate released Buandromo on $2,000 bail bond with 2 sureties in the same sum. She has been ordered to provide an evidence by Monday that she has deactivated her social media accounts. Buandromo has been ordered to report to Nakasi police station every fortnight. The matter has been adjourned to May 28 for plea. Pranita Prakash, FBC News.
8 Fijians who are in Wuhan, China, where the coronavirus outbreak started, are in good health and remain indoors despite the lifting of the longest lockdown amid the outbreak. The city of Wuhan was in lockdown for 76 days. Fiji's biggest fresh produce importer, Turners and Growers, has assured there will be no shortage of fruits and meat products due to COVID-19. Director Bobby Sharma says they are constantly liaising with suppliers in Australia and New Zealand to ensure there is no interruption in the supply chain. Koroi Tandulala reports.
Turners and Growers supplies potatoes, garlic, onions and a variety of seasonal fruits like apples, grapes and pears.
We used to import 3 or 4 consignments in a week of air freight, highly perishable produce. Since the border closure, we haven't been able to import any air freight stock. In terms of air freight items, obviously our freight forwarders are working with Fiji Airways to basically see whether there's any option of charter flights available from next week.
Sharma says the company is in discussions with Fiji Airways to see what freight options exist. Speaking to FBC News from New Zealand, he adds they're determined to ensure their supply of produce in the Fiji market is not affected.
In terms of sea freight, there's no changes. As I said, we are basically importing produce in containers, on reefer containers, on a weekly basis, so there's no changes to that. At this stage, we've got plenty of frozen stock, including lamb chops, and we are basically supplying to majority of the supermarkets on a regular basis.
Following reports by some supermarket chains that they're running out of some imported goods, Turners and Growers has assured Fijians that its product will remain on the shelves. Koroi Tandulala, FBC News.
With the Suva lockdown lifted this morning, life slowly returned to the capital city. Faria Begum reports while many people were out and about today, public reaction was subdued in light of the COVID-19 threat.
A number of people flocked the streets of Suva after a long 2-week period. Many were seen shopping and it all seemed like a normal day. FBC News spoke to a few Fijians on what their experiences were after the 14-day lockdown period.
Everything seems very new, like we're having running a small business here in town. I hardly see much movement.
Well, I spend a lot of time with my families and encourage them to go to Plan B and do some gardening and planting.
It's good to see the lockdown lifted up.
I was happy to see so many, like all my friends staff from me, the Nausori area, they're starting again this morning.
Many taxi drivers and minibus drivers who were locked out of Suva also returned to the city. Physical distancing still seemed like a thing unheard of, with people brushing against each other on the streets. Public transport carried passengers with no social distancing at all. Central Eastern Minibus Association President Naresh Chand says it's up to their passengers if they want to practice social distancing.
The minibus distance inside is about 3 meters, right? And we were told to keep a 2 meter distance. If that is so, then we're only carrying maybe 2 to 3 passengers. So that's not profitable.
Another driver, David Bew, says with all these restrictions put in place, movement is minimal and this has affected income.
I am fortunate that I had brothers abroad who send me money to support my family. We've done a bit of farming. That should cope us in the long run.
Authorities continue to urge the public to practice physical distancing, as this is one way which has been proven to combat the spread of COVID-19. Faria Begum, FBC News.
Up ahead, British couple say Fiji is safer. And homeless Fijians struggle to find food. Details after the break.
Natang bawa prosan ngerse, gor kraki. Do televisi na barong na Radio Fiji One, nandom ibit.
Radio Fiji One, nandom.
Welcome back. A British couple who are unable to travel back home due to the COVID-19 restrictions say they feel much safer here. The couple have been in Fiji since last July and work at a resort in the Mamanuthas on a contract basis. Felipe Nakaso has more.
Jasmine Carter and Chris Facey have praised the Fijian government for how they've handled the coronavirus pandemic since the first case was recorded.
But I think that was a very good reaction to just get onto it so quickly. You're seeing other countries and even England and Australia being quite slow with their reactions and not doing much, and now you see all the numbers there, whereas here there's not many people at all. So I think we're in a safer place here than if we went back to Australia or went back to England.
The couple are also happy with how the vegetable producers are fulfilling their needs.
This is great. We can get all our fresh fruit and vegetable and still do the social distancing thing, making sure that there's not loads of people around.
Farmboy has teamed up with Ramba and Port Denarau to ensure tourists who are stuck in Fiji and Steron Denarau are supplied with fruits and vegetables.
We decided to open this outlet so that the customers don't have to go and crowd at our stall in the market. So it basically to support the customers, support ourselves and support the government for social distancing issues.
Prasad says Farmboy has been setting up at this spot every Wednesday for the past few weeks. Philip and Ikaso, FBC News.
The homeless have not been spared by the implications of COVID-19, and now more than ever, these vulnerable Fijians are struggling to even find a meal. Apanisa Wangairandovu was out on the streets of Suva to see how the homeless are coping.
Tope Tuimaitonga has called the streets of Suva home for 2 decades. For days now, he's been managing on 1 meal a day.
I find difficult, not many people going around, so I stay here, so I can't go anywhere. So sometimes people, they come and give the food.
Tuimaitonga relies on alms to get by, and given that he is asthmatic, moving around is difficult. The $100 social welfare assistance goes into buying medicine.
This asthma inhaler is $25. Another type cost me $30. They can last for 2 weeks, but sometimes when I have the attack, I have a few contacts of people who come and help me get to the hospital.
He sleeps at this Jerusalem Road bus stop every night. It's the closest thing he has to a home.
Sometimes I feel safe, sometimes no.
Kustino Benusabu, who has been on the street for 18 years, says the past weeks have been a challenge, but he still found something to be thankful for.
It's okay because I'm not affected with the machine. It's good to help us and to comfort us.
Most people who live on the streets have moved out from the Suva CBD, turning towards residential areas where it may be easier to find food. Even in these hard times, there are some families ready to help, if not in cash, in kind. Apenisa Wangrandobu, FBC News.
A number of women have shown strength in the face of financial hardships after losing their jobs due to the COVID-19 pandemic. In our series of stories about Fijians rising above the challenge, Josiah Nanunga spoke with a group of women who've turned to fishing to put food on the table.
These young women used to work in the hospitality industry until last month. Now they are following their mother's footsteps to ensure their family of 7 does not sleep hungry.
My 2 daughters have been laid off from their respective workplaces. Considering the trying times we are in today, I told my daughters that we need to resort to fishing, collecting kekos and lumi for our sustenance.
56-year-old Bulo Eleanor from Kandavo has lived off the ocean her whole life. She's now motivating her daughters to use their traditional knowledge and tap into the abundance of natural resources. Lavinia Tangidaki from Samambola in Suva is pushing her boundaries. She's never been fishing but now spends every day out at sea since losing her job at a footwear store.
I've been laid off and this is the first time for me to come out fishing. And there are other ways for me to earn some money.
While alternative livelihood is a last resort for many, 28-year-old Tamabuiwai resident Sarah Kuroi has been doing it for the last 10 years and she's never regretted it.
I would like to encourage those Fijians who have lost their jobs, particularly women, is to never give up. Fiji has an abundance of sea and the land resources that we can make use to make a living.
It's not as easy as throwing a line into the water. With the threat of COVID-19 hovering Fiji, leisure fishing at the Nasese seawall and anywhere else for that matter is strictly prohibited for now. Josiah Nanunga, FBC News.
The Agriculture Ministry has redirected resources to help farmers who've been affected by Tropical Cyclone Harold. The majority of the assistance is being directed towards farmers in the maritime areas. Lina Rees has more.
Planting material and resources have been supplied to farmers in Kandavo, Vatulele, Malolo Island, Yasawa and the Low Groups.
Supplies that includes antibiotics, pig dewormers, antidiarrheal medicines and vitamins. We've supplied emergency veterinary kits so that officers can attend to livestock which might have been injured during the cyclone.
The Fiji Agro-Marketing Authority has also highlighted the assistance that it has provided to areas that were locked down and those that still are.
AMA has bought over 50 tons of fresh produce from farmers across Fiji in these very challenging and unprecedented times in the recent weeks, and we paid cash on spot to the farmers.
Agriculture Minister Dr. Mahendra Reddy has confirmed they will ensure all Fijians have a continuous supply of locally grown fresh produce throughout this trying time. Lena Rees, FBC News.
The Fiji Red Cross Society plans to change its disaster response strategy from shelter kits and household item supply to monetary assistance. Director Elisapedi Rokotunindau says benchmarking and talks with relevant agencies is underway for the effective and timely execution of this plan. Josiah Nanunga reports.
16 Fiji Red Cross volunteers are conducting detailed damage assessments in southern Lau, Kandavu and Yase Samoala, while also distributing essential.
We know from Winston some of the things that were provided for families were not really needed by the families. So cash-based initiative, it's a lot harder to run. It's a lot more complicated, but it's a way of getting families to identify what their real needs are and providing the cash initiative.
Disaster Management Coordinator Matthew Nokelebu says the Health Ministry has trained volunteers on COVID-19 awareness that will be carried out parallel with the assessment.
We are able to send our team across, even though there were restrictions, but we were able to come up with processes in place to respond to these two disasters in parallel.
FRCS maintains that they are still distributing household items, shelter kits and jerry cans to Fijians affected by TC Herald. Josiah Nanunga, FBC News.
And it's time for Friday Night Business with Whitney.
Thanks, Edwin. In business tonight, no easy recovery for tourism industry and no income for women artisans. Stay with us.
My name is Neha and I'm from Kadavi, and Mirchi FM, it's hot.
Mirchi FM, it's hot.
Leading business, the Fijian tourism sector is one of the hardest hit industries in the country, and its recovery is projected to take long. Economist Dr. Rohit Kishore says the tourism sector is dependent on the people's psychology and is very sensitive in the safety and security aspects. Kritika Kumar reports.
When the pandemic is over and world starts to heal, regaining people's trust to travel again may be challenging.
I think tourism sector will be destroyed, not only Fiji's, the entire world's tourism sector.
Dr. Kishore predicts that COVID-19 will have a deeper impact than natural disasters, as people cannot predict when the pandemic will be over.
And it will just not come out like Winston, because this is a long-term effect. At the moment, we don't know when we're peaking and when we're coming out of it, let alone recovery.
Minister for Tourism Premila Kumar says they are working on some measures to help the industry.
Behind the scene, work is going on. We're just waiting for the right moment. And unfortunately, COVID-19 is not giving us the opportunity to roll all these plans that we have in place. We just have to wait.
The once thriving Fijian tourism industry is at a complete standstill, as countries all over the world have shut down their borders to control the spread of coronavirus. Kritika Kumar, FBC News.
Women artisans in Savu Savu are finding difficulty providing for their families, with no income coming from handicraft sales. These artisans, who are heavily dependent on tourists, are now turning to other means of earning income to sustain their livelihoods. Eleanor Turangai View reports.
From a few $100s a week just 2 months ago to barely $1 now, Rosalia Tui is struggling to make ends meet.
Some weeks we don't earn anything at all.
Tui is one of the many women artisans in Savu Savu who rely on the tourism industry to make a living.
We get a lot of cruise ships here, but now no tourists, nothing. We used to earn hundreds, even up to $1,000 before.
Even local sales of mats and masi have been affected due to the current restrictions in place.
There's been no sales of mats and masi at all because the current laws are affecting how we do our occasions.
With barely a tourist arriving into the country since the COVID-19 outbreak, Tui and other women artisans have resorted to selling vegetables in order to earn a few dollars.
Selling vegetables outside is the only thing that helps us now. Sometimes we take home $20, at least it's more than what we get from our handicraft.
There's also lessons learned from this experience.
It's really taught us to save money for days like this.
The women hope that when the situation is over, Savu-Savu will be able to recover and get back its share of tourists. Eleanor Turangaiwiu, FBC News.
Sharon from HFC Bank joins us now with the latest from the stock market.
A record 22 million Americans have sought unemployment benefits over the past month, with millions more filing claims last week. This is wiping out all the job gains since the Great Recession and highlighting the toll on the economy from the extraordinary containment measures for COVID-19. The 22 million people who have filed claims for the jobless benefit since March 21st represents about 13.5% of the U.S. labor force. On Wall Street, traders say stocks will be volatile until investors can see more clearly when countries might be able to stop the outbreak. For now, they are eagerly awaiting an update from President Donald Trump on the prospect of reopening the U.S. economy, even as several states extended lockdown measures. Closer to home, our Aussie and Kiwi counterparts advanced, jumping as high as 1% and holding just below session highs. And that's all from HFC Bank for this week. Vinaka.
Here today's exchange rates are set this morning. A mixed day for the Fijian dollar as it weakened against the Chinese yuan, the US, the Aussie dollar and the PNG kina. It gained against the Kiwi dollar, the euro and the Japanese yen. Onto the commodities market, the price of crude oil fell, closing at $19.68 per barrel. Gold also dropped to 1,708 cents per ounce, while silver remained steady at 15.36 per ounce. That's it from Business Tonight. Jamie joins you now with the latest from sports.
Thanks, Whitney, and good evening. In Sports Tonight, FRU enthusiastic about chairman's nomination, and Champions League final planned for August 29th. This and more coming up.
Bola, I'm Miri, I'm from Lotoka and I love Gold FM because they play all my classic hits.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.
Fiji Rugby Union CEO John O'Connor is grateful to the France Rugby Union for supporting their nomination to the World Rugby Executive Committee. FRU Chair Commander Francis Keane is one of 8 nominees for 7 positions on the committee, becoming the first Fijian to be nominated. The current pandemic looming over the world has caused many doubts on sporting contracts and precariousness for many rugby players. Young Flying Fijians winger Chuta Wainingolo is uncertain of what his future in the sport holds. The 21-year-old, a rising star in rugby union, made his debut in the Under-20 Junior World Trophy in 2019, was part of the Fiji Sevens extended squad, the 2020 Fiji Warriors side, and the Fijian Latui extended squad. Wainingolo says he will just focus on bettering his skills for the time being.
I'll have to wait for this lockdown virus, and we'll see what's the plans for me. But for now, I'll just focus on my training to stay healthy and fit.
World Rugby has announced the details of a dedicated COVID-19 relief strategy aimed at supporting the global game and mitigating the overall impact of the pandemic on the sport. UEFA is working on plans that would see the Champions League final end the 2019-2020 season on 29th August. If top-level rugby continues to be mothballed, players will lose around 50% of the money set aside to pay them for the rest of the year. That is the harsh reality for some of the biggest sports stars as the professional game remains in lockdown and revenues dry up. Frontline All Blacks are set to lose a 6-figure sum. That's it from sports this Friday night. Coming up in new media, Facebook will alert users who interact or have interacted with misinformation about COVID-19. Details with Edwin after the break.
Bola, I'm Miri, I'm from Lotoka and I love Gold FM because they play all my classic hits.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.
In new media tonight, Facebook will now alert users who engage with harmful COVID-19 posts. Mostly fine conditions prevailed over most parts of the country. Looking at the west, mostly cloudy with a little rain this afternoon. Eastwards from Pacific Harbour to Suva, mostly pleasant conditions. Up north, cloudy and humid conditions prevail today. At sea, southeast winds 10 to 15 knots, gusting to 20 knots through the passages, moderate to rough seas, moderate southerly swells. Turning to the tides, the next high tide is at 9:16 p.m. with low tide at 3:37 tomorrow morning. Sunrise is at 6:16. For tomorrow, cloudy periods with brief showers over the eastern parts and interior of the other larger islands. And the outlook for Sunday, fine conditions. In Fijian Pulse tonight, we asked what measures should parents take with school holidays now extended.
No, because the minister, as I had the news, the minister advised that online tasks will be given to the students.
There shouldn't be any problem with the children as long as the ministry provides the resources that's needed.
I feel for the students who have been out of school for this long. I think this will definitely affect them.
I show big time. It will affect the kids big time because about these hurricanes are here and plus this COVID-19 are here.
I think it's good for them to stay home until the virus is totally being erased, and whatever it takes for them to be safe.
They'll go behind on their studies, but they'll be safe.
And in the world of the not at all weird but absolutely wonderful, we bring you an animated video featuring a model of our very own Fiji Airways aircraft. Computer science tutor Rishal Chand of Lotoka spent 2 weeks creating this video on popular gaming platform Grand Theft Auto. While he did use a Boeing aircraft motif for the video, the quality of workmanship can't be denied. Chand says he learnt 3D modeling and design as a Bachelor's of Information Technology, specializing in multimedia and design, including animation. He chose to test his skills by making an animated video of the aircraft. And recapping the main stories, leptospirosis case confirmed in Kandavu, reports of domestic violence cases, and legal consultant ordered to deactivate social media account. For these stories and more, you can log on. You can tune into our excuse me. You can. It must be a long week. You can tune into our sister radio station Gold FM, and to our poll question segment tonight. This week we are asking: should those caught breaching curfew be given mandatory jail time? Visit our FBC News website to answer. And to our shot of the day, a gloomy sunset in the capital city, sent in by Tanyala Veitata. And if you're in any of the areas which are under lockdown, do send us videos and photos of what you're doing to pass the time. Email fbcnews@fbc.com.fj. Share it with us via our FBC News Facebook page or Twitter @FBC News. And that's your news for tonight. Jackie Spade will join you from Monday morning. And from me, Modemanda.
Bula, I'm Miri, I'm from Lotoka and I love Gold FM because they play all my classic hits.
Gold FM, only the classic hits.